It's Monday, the 16th of September, day 346 of the October 7th war. To start with, an update from COGAT and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. As of the latest COGAT figures, 1,018,000 tons, that's 1,018,000 tons of humanitarian aid have been delivered into Gaza on 51,500 trucks since the start of this war. You can get all the details of Israel's humanitarian efforts on COGAT's website. On baby food in particular, and baby care units and nutritionally rich food, especially for babies, packages are continuously entering Gaza. Just last week, 2.5 tons were facilitated into Gaza. And Thursday saw the third and final day of the vaccination campaign in northern Gaza, where 6,400 children were vaccinated just on that day. But in total, 559,000 children were vaccinated across the entirety of Gaza during the entire campaign. During the daily polio assessment meeting with our partners at the World Health Organization and UNICEF, they both expressed a great appreciation for our efforts and coordination. As we always say, Israel will continue working with our partners to facilitate humanitarian aid and medical aid and their responses needed for the civilian population in Gaza. Hamas wanted a famine, Israel prevented one. Hamas wanted a polio outbreak, and Israel has prevented one. So that's the end of our briefing here today. I will now take your questions, which you should put in the chat, together with your news outlet. Okay, first question here I can see is from Jody Cohen at World is One News in India. What can you tell us about reports that Gideon Saar might be given a ministerial role? Thank you for that question, Jody. We won't be dealing with any of those political type questions during these briefings. No doubt things will become clear later in the day or after that, but we don't deal with those sorts of political questions here during these briefings, but thank you for asking. Next question is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Can you kindly elaborate on the manufacture of weapons to be supplied to northern communities? The rifles were all made in Israel. Is this part of a shift to domestic weapons manufacturing to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers? And are the components and materials for the rifles also sourced in Israel? Thank you for that question, Joel. The government press office put out a statement earlier today regarding armaments needed to protect our people. During that briefing, that statement, we told about the Arad rifle. It's an Israeli-made rifle which takes the best of our experience and puts it into the manufacture of that weapon. For more information, I would put you back to that statement, which gives some of the figures, some of the details. That's about all I have to say on that. Next question is from David Clement from the News Forum in Canada. Is Israel considering retaliating against the Houthis in Yemen? Thank you for that question from David Clement at the News Forum in Canada. At the start of yesterday's cabinet meeting, the Prime Minister said that we're in a multi-front campaign against Israel, against Iran's axis of evil, which is striving for our destruction. As you said, David, just yesterday morning at 6:30 a.m., the Houthis launched a surface-to-surface missile from Yemen at our territory. But of course, the Prime Minister made clear that they should know that we will exact a high price for any attempt to attack us. And I would just add that Forbes, using IMF figures, International Monetary Fund figures, lists Yemen as the 10th poorest country in the world. Just a reminder that Israel has no border with Yemen, no territorial dispute with Yemen. It is simply a matter of Jew hatred. Indeed, the slogan of the Houthis is "God is the greatest, death to America, death to Israel, and a curse upon the Jews, and victory to Islam." So the Prime Minister, he also said that whoever needs a reminder of Israel's defense against the Houthis, against their attack, is invited to visit the port of Hodeidah. The Prime Minister made clear that whoever attacks us will not evade our strike. Hamas is already learning through our determined action, which will bring about its destruction and the release of all of our hostages. Houthis are an Iranian proxy. They're part of the seven-front battle which we're fighting Iran. Israel knows how to defend itself. Israel, the government, is mandated by its people. It is our primary responsibility, in common with every government around the world, to defend its people, and that is precisely what we will do. We know how to defend ourselves. We've done it before in the past, and we will do it again to ensure this country's safe and secure future. Next question is from Jim Williams at Zenga International News at Washington, D.C. What is the Prime Minister's goals in his meeting on Hezbollah with U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein, Defense Minister Gallant, and other senior security officials? Will there be a summary of the results of the meeting available after they speak? Thank you for that question, Jim. I've told you about our response regarding the Houthis, but let me share with you our thoughts about what's happening in the north, because the Prime Minister also said yesterday at the start of yesterday's cabinet meeting that he had visited the north in the last few days. He said he was extremely attentive to the residents of the north. He speaks with them and with the heads of local authorities in the north. The government sees their distress. We hear their anguish. The current situation is not sustainable. The current situation is not sustainable. Now, this requires a change in the balance of forces on our northern border, and Israel will do whatever is necessary to return our residents securely to their homes. The government is completely committed to this, and we will not suffice with anything else, with anything less. We will do this, as the Prime Minister said yesterday, thanks to the heroism of our fighters and the unity amongst our people, as a united people rising up against the enemies which are aiming to threaten our future. Now, I don't need to remind you that more than 8,000 rockets, UAVs, drones have been fired at us, often more than 100 a day. 63,500 people have been displaced. There have been more than 840 fire incidents, close to 200,000 dunams of our land burnt, and 46 people killed by this Hezbollah incessant firing of rockets, UAVs by this terrorist organization. We know that they're aimed at killing our people, imposing terror and disrupting daily life in this country. But Israel is responding, and we will continue to respond with force to this aggression by Hezbollah. We will use all means necessary, whether diplomatically or otherwise. We will use all means necessary to restore the security on our northern border and to safely return our citizens to their homes. We're going to respond with force to these unprovoked aggressions of Hezbollah, which since 2023, they've launched all these rockets and UAVs, and they've always been from, well, the vast majority have been from Lebanese territory. We remind the international community and the state of Lebanon and Hezbollah, the terrorist organization which is operating under the guidance of Iran. They are responsible for the escalation of the security situation on our north, and it's in violation of international law and UN Security Council resolutions 1559 and 1701. Next question here is from Louis Bedouin-Larman from AFP, Agence France Presse. You said of the Houthis that whoever attacks Israel will not evade its strikes. Could you elaborate on this? There is no border with Lebanon, as there is no border with Yemen as there is with Lebanon. So how would Israel retaliate? Thank you for that question, Louis. I shared with you our current thoughts. The Prime Minister made those clear yesterday before the cabinet meeting regarding our ability and our duty to defend ourselves. You won't be surprised, Louis, if I don't share any more details with you live on air. But be in no doubt, this country has a duty to defend itself, and that is precisely what it will do. Yemen are threatening global stability. They are threatening, the Houthis are threatening shipping stability. There is a ship currently on fire in the Red Sea, which is in danger of causing an environmental catastrophe. None of these are a sustainable reality. Israel has a duty to defend itself. We have no territorial dispute with Yemen, yet they continue to attack us. We know that Iran is behind this, and we know precisely how to defend ourselves. Okay, I think there was one more. No, I think, are there any more questions? No, that looks like it's the last question for today. So thank you for joining us. The next briefing will be tomorrow at the same time, 3:30 Jerusalem time. So in the meantime, please do stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.